You are now tapped in with Hood in the Morning. Calling now.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. See, if that's not the realest shit in the world.
What we talking about, real shit, or we talking about rhymes? You talking about millions or you talking about mine? What we talking about?
Yo, bust it!
Look at you!
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor. I ain't got no pens on, ain't got no pens on. I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
Look at you! Look at you!
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
We're gonna have a little conversation. You know what I'm saying? You know, me, you, and the brother. Like, I can't have a conversation with you. I don't have no conversation that my goddamn mate ain't on in with. The sister roll with me, whether you talking about that other female. Because we equal. So ain't no goddamn, no, we separating the boys, no. We are one entity on the spiritual realm. This woman is my hooked up spiritual mate. Now, I don't roll with no shit, no, the man, no, the girl can't be. No, I ain't in with that bullshit. That's homosexuality. That's 2,000 years ago. Because the Arabs were some of the biggest faggots on the planet. The white Arab. And the damn white Jew man and that whole shit with Christianity is based on homosexuality to suppress the feminine energy. That's right. So I don't roll without the goddamn sister. I say, well, if you know, so even the shit with the Masonic shit with the boys in the law, that's not real masonry. Because one part in the real masonry, first of all, who is the master mason? The temple of God is the physical body. Well, the temple that God is in is the physical body. Who builds the temple? The master builder builds the temple. Well, the only motherfucker can build a damn temple I know of a physical body is a goddamn woman. She's the true master mason. So in real masonry, if you don't have the woman in on the shit, you don't have real masonry because it comes apart in Masonic shit where you gotta go into sexual tantrum. And not unless you gonna get a nigga in the ass, that ain't no real masonry. But that lets you know that the real, how many people up in there masons? And you can challenge me on this shit. Prince Hall, Smooth Ashler, or whatever, you know nothing about the mystery school. Now, you can challenge me on that shit. I'm standing on the square for Ayers, the Holy St. Lodge of Jerusalem. I know all that shit. You don't know nothing about what you call it. That's not mystery system. Right. I know the true shit on the mystery system, and that's a social club like drinking liquor and driving cab. That ain't shit, but, you know, just an old social club, just like the AKAs, the Deltas, the Jack and Jill shit, or the Buffalo Lodge, or the Little Rascal game and shit. That's all that shit is. Don't let all these niggas with the Masonic shit, them motherfuckers don't know nothing about no mystery school, because I'm here to challenge you on that shit. They don't know shit about no mystery school. That's just a social club. If that's all it was, hell, my goddamn granddaddy was a fucking masturbation and he couldn't even read. So I know goddamn well he don't know nothing about no mystery school. And that nigga got all three of his degrees. They take a nigga off the street in the old days and give him all 3 degrees in one day. He go in on early first Saturday morning, and by 6 o'clock, that nigga a master mason. And to this day, the Masonic thing ain't got nothing to do with the real mystery school. That's a social club. Now, I can challenge anybody on here what the hell I'm talking about. So if y'all a big time Mason and think you know that your lodge is teaching high goddamn Mason, well, let's go into this motherfucking shit right now. That's why I go to the East Coast and I don't hear a damn sound whenever I call the motherfuckers out because they don't know shit about no mystery school. So quit the damn dumb shit. If you really want to get a real Masonic lodge, get the damn sisters up in there, and that's when you start dealing with some real shit.
Techin is called heavy star material. That is nothing but the melanin, the DNA inside of us. Now, in the book of the law, that was received transmission from an angel named Awas by Aleister Crowley in 1904, and he gave him this particular book of the law. The first chapter of the book of the law, it says every man and every woman is a star. Well, that's what we are, because Techin means heavy star material. Every man, every woman is a star. Now this is what gets things to going faster, so you can get beyond this thing. We're nothing but stars. Now stars out there, every star in that universe has its own unique shape. It has its own unique orbit. No star is in the same orbit as the other star. It has its own orbit, own unique patterns, own unique everything. And that's what we are. But the problem here is we can't get past personality.
There it is.
To line up with the orbit of our star path, which would automatically line up the DNA. Because we are thinking that we are humans and thinking that we are personalities. You see what I'm saying? When we are actually stars getting ready to orbit. You see? Getting ready to orbit. We are a group of stars that took on a human experiment to go beyond perfection.
Right.
And so we are these particular stars, but we have been trapped into thinking that we are humans because we have led a human life for umpteen million years, or umpteen thousand years. So as a result, we don't know that we were originally stars with our own orbits. So in so many words, what you have to do is go beyond personality.
Yes.
You see, go beyond personality, and in order to do that, you see, so throw out any blueprint on what you think you are human.
That's right.
You see, and let that star erupt. You see, erupt. So read the first, you can go online and download the book of the law, read the first chapter. There's 3 other chapters. There's 2 other chapters, because there's 3 chapters in all. But the first one is dealing with Newt, the unveiling of the company of heaven. So Newt is unveiling these stars.
Yes.
And so you need to find out, you need to try to get a notion of yourself being a star. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, that will jumpstart the species.
What we talking about, real shit, or we talking about rhyme? You talking about millions or you talking about mine? What we talking about?
Yo, bust it! Look at you!
On the dance floor.
Look at you! Look at you!
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective, man. Another edition of Hood in the Morning, Sunday edition. So I figured let's get into some spiritual principles before I go forward, or before I go into the discussion, Can I get some ones in the chat if you can hear me? Okay. So, the reason on which we're discussing Thelema, and it just now hit me, right? Early in my spiritual development, I would listen to the book, not even listen to, I would read the book of law out loud. The first chapter, like I would just keep reading it every single day. And it opened up so much for me that it exited out my mind. Because once again, one of the key principles to Thelema is the less the result. And I just want to, thank everybody for joining me this morning as we, of course, deal with some spiritual principles in reference to spiritual development, which is difficult within itself in this material world, where we have a whole host of material challenges. But this particular message is, as much as it is informational, it is emotional. The compassion of giving people spiritual tools that they can utilize in a real world is my hope for this conversation. So if this conversation is out of left field and you don't know what I'm talking about or where I'm coming from, I just say stay seated and stay buckled in, as I'm I'm not just delivering information for the sake of information. The particular goal of this is a transmission, meaning that this mission goes beyond myself and my life, right? The mission, it goes to those who have ears to hear and those who have eyes to see. And so, basically, I just want to break down the information in a way that it's engaging, it's entertaining, because even though the conversation is challenging, it is resourceful. So basically, let's start off from the rooter and let's make it all the way to the tutor. I do have some conclusions at the end of this broadcast. So it's a reason for the season. You know, in this world where we are living, I said it's a reason for the season. And I was about to talk about the little season and it being Satan's little season and you being a star being and how to navigate when your particular, I would say, deity or higher power is not in control, right? The devil is in control. And so to be rewarded fully and truly in this world, you need to do the devil's work. You need to evict people from their homes. You need to practice usury. You need to practice fraud. You need to lie. You need to manipulate. You need to, false teach, and you will be taken care of in this world. If you are a part of the spiritual class, you probably are struggling in some form or fashion. And if you aren't, congratulations. But in reference to us understanding the boule or the council, we are in this thing together. And those who don't know how to actually process the spiritual world or access the spiritual world, you're not going to know if you're not being specifically taught. And I cannot charge you for the information. I just got to tell you, and you just got to want it. Because when I was reading the book of the law every day, I just wanted it. When I was listening to Bobby Hemmit 8 hours a day, Brother Panic 4 hours a day, podcasts, lectures, library, books, nobody was paying me money to wanting to figure out what the fuck is going on. And the answer is within you. The answer is within Thelema. It is a desire. It is a wish. It is, and when you talk about a desire and a wish, most people are going to talk about material things. When you just trying to identify a person's disposition, it's emotional, it's material, it's mental. Very rarely is a desire or a wish in reference to one's own soul. However, when we are discussing Thelema, there is no real way outside of Thelema. And the easiest way that I can describe it is in The Godfather, where the Godfather says, I'm going to make you an offer that you can't refuse. So free will is an illusion only to a person that understands true spiritual development. If you don't understand true spiritual development, you think your selfish ways. And like, I went to sleep thinking about when I was single and I didn't have like no kids. And I just think about all of the wild shit that I was doing. One's in the chat if you was doing wild shit when you were single and alone. And I'm talking about 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. Just you utilize this freedom not to be your best self. I mean, you utilize this freedom not to follow God's path for yourself or God's preferred will. You did what you wanted to do because you was by yourself. And then it's almost like you force yourself to get into a relationship. You force yourself to have kids because you literally need to be responsible for something because you by yourself, you your own worst enemy. And I'm not saying this for every single person, but for most people, it's not going to work out like you think it's going to work out because you're free to do whatever you want to do. But whatever you want to do is easy to forget God's preferred will. It's easy to forget Thelema. Love under the will. Love is a part of this. Relationships are a part of this. So note the ma suffix. So the lima is the suffix, ma being the suffix or the end of the word, is focusing on the result hoped for with the particular desire and a wish, is nearly always used of God. So whenever you're thinking or referencing or utilizing the energy of Thelema, your desire or your wish is never personal. It's like when your parents ask you what you want for dinner, but they already knew what they was going to cook you for dinner, and they just listen to you and be like, okay. And then you getting oodles and noodles again. You like, what the hell? Ma literally says steak and lobster. They like, do you got steak and lobster money? It's the same way we are when we think about what we want and what we desire. And when you become obsessed with what you want, you become obsessed with what you desire. This is not Thelema. This is nothing of the will. The will is nearly always used of God. God is not a nigga floating in the sky. God is the unification of masculine and feminine energy and harmony and understanding. You cannot create a child any other way. without these particular principles. We are not a parthogenic species. So the will, the understanding of what one should do is when you factor in other people. So single, no children, it could easily be your job, to which this union shows up as. It could be a community, but it's never used in a personality type of way. Because when you enter into those realms, you entered into the realm of STD, spiritual transmitted diseases. The ways for which people have entered into the normalcy of casual sex, meaning that if I put on a condom, I won't get a disease. But what type of spiritual condom are you using? And for men and women. Because any man that had a downfall, I'm relating it to sexual immaturity. Any man that had a downfall, leave it up to yourself. You fine, you're going to work your job, you're going to stack your paper, but you're going to choose the wrong woman because what are you choosing from? You're going after something that you don't even know what you're going after, and you're not even setting up the frame or the paradigm for it to be successful. So I'm going to get in the car. It's not going to have a steering wheel. It's not going to have a stick shift. And I'm sitting in the passenger seat, and I'm hoping that the car don't crash. But you cut the ignition on and you put the pedal to the metal. You in love. When we are understanding God, we are understanding it as order in a world that is completely moving towards disorder. Meaning if you just let your kids do whatever they want to do, they're not going to just magically clean up the room. You're going to walk in like, damn, this house is spotless. Thank you, little Tay-Tay. Thank you, little Ray-Ray. No, that house is going to be a mess because we live in a world of entropy. You being God, you being the parent, must clean up after your kid. So once again, when we are understanding how to utilize Thelema, it is always through the paradigm of order and structure and discipline. Because you have to be so spiritually mature to say, I've gotten to a point of doing whatever the fuck I want to do, and that doesn't work. That's maturity. That's like you were ripe when you were young and you were saying, I could do whatever I want and still land on my feet. Not everybody, right? Some just people like me, right? Some of y'all had it figured out when y'all was 16 and ordered y'all steps in the right way, but y'all didn't do whatever y'all wanted to do. It was ordered, it was precise, it happened the way you specifically happened. But most people have to recover from a point of being selfish. So when we talk about the will, when we talk about Thelema, the ways for which we're understanding it is through a selfish lens. It's natural. And you could, like, I've studied this particular concept from the beginning of my spiritual development up until now. Still getting it. It's only one word called will, but within that word will, it is extensively layered. It gets to the core of the particular human being and what it truly wants and how you're truly going to get it. It is the same way the flower becomes the flower, the fly becomes the fly, the tree becomes the tree. It all has a preferred will. And when we talk about the concept of Thelema, we are talking about a purely biblical and ecclesiastical word. So what tends to happen when we think of the word Thelema, people go to Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was a contemporary in the 20th century. The word Thelema predates Aleister Crowley by at least 5,000 years. You cannot escape Thelema. However, it does seem as though these particular words and concepts gets hijacked. And then when we come into the understanding of it, it's not accessible to us because the concept of Thelema should be accessible to every person. Everybody should understand that they are on their own personal path. Your mama can't take that from you. Your daddy can't take that from you. Your relationship can't take that from you. But when you begin to understand it, it's easy to see how people simply want to take Thelema away from other people. It gets so deep because our outward understanding of life is not Thelema. A majority of our life is hijacked by outward expressions and understandings and going afterings and happiness and sadnesses. He doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. I didn't get hired from the job. I didn't get accepted into the apartment. I didn't get accepted into the club. I didn't get accepted into the school. I did get accepted to the school. I did get accepted to the club. I am happy as long as I'm a part of this, but now I'm out of it because it went out of business and now I don't know what to do. All of your answers are going to be solved within you. But since we aren't taught Thelema, it's not, this is shit your pastor needs to be drilling inside of you because it is the particular concept that is biblical. It is ecclesiastical. It is spiritual. But I cannot give it to you. You must find it for yourself because it is what one wishes. But what is one? One is a unification of one and zero. It is the physical and non-physical. The non-physical is the most powerful aspect of the physical. The water is still going to exist in the ocean without the cup. Now you have individualized some water within the cup, but the water has a way of evaporating. It will figure it out. It will go under the water. It will go under the earth. It's a lot of water under the earth. It's water everywhere. This is a water planet. So our individual physical life is just like a cup. A cup comes a dime a dozen. A cup is not, it's just a vessel. Our human body, our human reality is just a vessel. It would be weird to do everything that the cup wanted to do and never think about the contents of the cup. So you went to Starbucks and you got a vanilla latte and they just gave you a cup and they wrote vanilla latte on it. You would have a motherfucking problem. You would be getting your girl. She would be cussing the lady out at the goddamn thing. My husband ordered a vanilla latte and you gave him just a motherfucking cup. And they will politely say, well, excuse me, ma'am. He's only dating you because you a baddie. So we treating you like he's treating us and treating you. He's only looking at the exterior. You got a nice body. You got a nice titty. You got a nice smile. But he doesn't know nothing about your soul. So this is why we figured this is what you wanted. And what I'm just trying to elucidate, the concept of Thelema is a very hard concept to wrap your mind around because the one is not what I wish. It is what my innermost wishes, and I, being the vessel, just acts it out. I'm just the vessel, the container of the water. My personal needs and wishes are not the dominant figure when we're talking about the will, because the will is connected almost exclusively to God. And this is what I want to explain. But in order to get to this explanation, we have to get through Aleister Crowley
and the religion that he created around this particular concept. And me, I personally like, there's a lot of videos and a lot of books and a lot of podcasts about Aleister Crowley. There's a whole mystery school with everything that he's about, right? But what I want to do is talk about the spiritual root concept that he must have studied to center his whole religion around. And then I want to give it to you, because I don't want you to be reading Aleister Crowley and doing all of these weird rituals and trying to be something in the world that you don't even know what you're doing. You just following some shit that a nigga is putting down, and he's taking the internal and making it external, and then doing the rituals to quote unquote access it. But I want us to begin to understand that our simple understanding of who we truly are is part of the work. But we got to get to a point that we are not fixated on the personality. By the time you get 40 and 50 and 60, your personality is centered around who the fuck don't like you. And you trying to get into a spiritual space, and you trying to feel like your self-esteem is at a level because a nigga that you was fucking with said, you know what, I ain't fucking with you no more. And you like, well, that just really broke my self-esteem. It really broke my spiritual path. I haven't been the same since my breakup, since my divorce. Hey, listen, you talking about your personality here, and that's not what we're talking about right now. And we all been there. We all probably going to be there in the future. But for now, we want to access something that is much more deeper than that. And it doesn't matter about your self-esteem, your mental, or your emotions, because the same way as, well, some of us have 10 fingers and 10 toes. We're talking about natural processes. And this is what spiritual development is, because the spirit associated with the breath, as you are developing in the fetus, in the womb, this energy is guiding you and molding you and creating you. And the reality is that it doesn't stop. We just lose access to it once we become an adult or free, and we get to do whatever we want to do, right? But we stop doing what God wants us to do. We never try to figure it out either, because we are in a particular level of lust, and we are in a particular level of results, which is nothing wrong with lust. It is nothing wrong with results. Is only when you combine the two. Because there is no instruction, there is no guidance, there is no way to access any of these things. So if I just go outside and I'm just looking for something and I don't have a strategy, I'm not going to find it. Usually when you got a job, it wasn't because you was going around filling out you was going into buildings that said now hiring and shit. You knew somebody and said, hey man, come down here on the 31st at 6 p.m. Tell them you know Charles. And they'll, oh, you know Charles? Oh, sit down. Can you pass a drug test? And if you can't, you can go down to the smoke shop. They got the fake peas for you, so you can just hurry up, because we need somebody right now. It's a nigga right there just like, well, I've been going to every now hiring sign that I can find, and nobody hired you. I filled out 7,000 applications on Indeed. I just pressed the button and I'm hoping that they call me. That's not a strategy. But your lust of result, you want a job. Wanting a job is not you. It's niggas that been wanting a job ever since a job been wanting them, and they ain't never got it. Because you need a strategy. You need a way to get into the door. You need some panache about yourself. Shit just don't come to motherfuckers. Right? But once again, what will knock the spark out of your ass? You doing some shit that you ain't supposed to do. Now you on your ass trying to figure it out. So everything becomes hard. You don't want to get out the house. You don't want to get out the bed. You don't want to talk to nobody. You don't want to fall in love because you fell in love with the wrong person. You fell in love without a strategy. You fell in love and you said emotions is going to guide me the whole way. Right? And once again, it won't. Because the emotions change, the emotions turns, and if you don't have a foundation, if you don't have a way you don't have a way to kind of balance this ship out, it won't balance and it'll capsize. So lust, the result within itself, is always going to give you the same results that the lust have gave you, because lust and results are not. If you really want something, you're going to have a strategy. And you're going to have an insurance plan if things go bad. Because things can and will go bad. That's Murphy's Law. But when you are inundated with hormones and emotions for survival reasons of the species, right? Because in reference to having a particular strategy and a purpose, we don't even got that. But naturally, we find ourselves in these particular situations. Because the hormones and emotions take over. But once again, there is a way to get everything that you want, past, present, and future. Wherever you at, if you 18, 16, 34, that made every mistake known to man for pure will. Pure will. Now, will is Thelema. Thelema is will. The Thelema is always associated with God. So this is a loaded word. So for pure will, it's kind of like, okay, what does that even mean? But to purely be aligned with God, this means to be away from your personality, far away from your personality. Unassuaged from purpose. And so this is another way of saying free from purpose. Like if you are being bound with purpose, like I gotta do this, I want to do this, that's a dirty way of getting what you want. For if you trust God, if you trust what God will do in your life, you don't have to want it. If the cup holds water, the cup don't never ask you, hey man, can you pour some water in me, bro? Imagine if a cup was possessed with telling you to pour water in it. And it said, you know what? I'm going to walk off this counter and tell this nigga to pour water in me. And it'll nudge itself to the edge of the counter. Oh shit, I'm moving. Okay. I'm about to tell this nigga, and then he gets off the counter and he gonna just fall and crash, and it never worked. If you'd have just stayed on the counter and waited till you came into the kitchen, you'd have poured water into him anyways. When will is pure, it is not driven by personal gain, ego, or a desire for results. When you do what you are meant to do simply because this is just who you are, that is perfect. So imagine how many times people sit and say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't have no direction in my life, hood. I just been sitting here drinking Mountain Dews, Red Bulls, and Monster Energies and hot Cheetos. I know it ain't good for me, but I think I'm addicted, hood. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You need to follow your father's will. Now, because people don't like their father. People expect their father to do more for them than what their father is actually doing for them. One's in the chat if your father could have done more for you. Or you feel as though your father could have done more for you. Or you have felt that your father could have done more for you. Very rarely does a person say, I'm grateful for my father for creating me. And once again, we're not talking about our literal father. We're talking about the metaphysical father, because this is how we convey the message of Thelema, through the father as a metaphysical principle. And Christ consciousness as a metaphysical principle. Because what is the ultimate principle? Something had to come from something. Nothing comes from nothing. So a lot of the times we are seeking a effect, but we are not seeking a cause. So in reference to order, in a world that is entropic, chaotic, when you utilize a principle of order in a world that is chaotic, you are going to look as a success. When you just go with the flow, you're going to be like, the world is against me. Because one does not feel that they need spiritual principles, because they feel like you are just entitled to everything in the world. And maybe you are, but you're not going to be, you need a roof over your head. So in reference to the ways for which I try to kiss my kids' ass today is not the same way I used to try to make them kiss my ass. Because I understand the cause that I'm creating. I'm not, it's one level for a person to understand you. And it's a whole nother level for a person to take what you do for granted. And so to idolize and wish for something out of somebody else, even if that person can and will, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, because it's always going to come a time where you are going to have to self-regulate. You are going to have to find the answers within yourself. It could be at work, it could be in a relationship, and it's a time where you're going to reach out for your dad and your dad is not there. You're going to reach out for your mom and your mom is not there. And if you don't have the skills to self-regulate, shit just going to look crazy. Because your parents can love you, your parents can want the best for you, but very rarely do parents prepare you for living without them. They only enable you to live with them. So when we try to understand it metaphysically, God is that same way. He gave you a home to live in. And what you chose to do in this home is up to you. Because it's millions, if not billions of people in this same home. And it's a way, no matter where you're at, you can institute order in the chaos. Or if you're on the flip side and it's all order, you can institute chaos. I'm about to utilize 7 days of this PTO and travel to another state. When we are quickened in spiritual understanding we experience a renewal of mind and of a transformation of body. The mortal becomes immortal. The corruptible becomes incorruptible. It is the resurrection into eternal life. When we understand as a metaphysical principle, will, God as a directive force, or another way of saying this is the soul as a directive force, is another way of saying it's a part of me that knows. This part of me, this personality part of me, is not, you got to just be real with yourself. When you was 16, 17, 18, 19, and you have freedom to do whatever the fuck you wanted to do, your parents went out of town, you got your own apartment, you got your own taste of freedom, was you living according to God's will? Or was you living according to your own selfish will? Was you playing the role up until you got alone and then you call it your ex to come beat you out the frame? And nobody, you know how much shit goes on in the world that nobody will ever know about? Motherfuckers just do it. So, in reference to understanding God's will, it ain't that. It ain't doing whatever you want to do when you want to do it. And when we trying to discuss spiritual conversations with niggas, they trying to factor in how they going to be able to do whatever they want to do and still understand things from a spiritual level. And it's a hard way of going that particular way. John chapter 6, verse 40, for my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son, so the Son, S-O-N, is S-U-N. Why? Because we are star beings. And the ways for which that we're to order our lives is synonymous with the planetary movements that are along the elliptical. The planetary movements along the elliptical are not chaotic. They don't make up their own rules. They're not created by man. It is an electromagnetic, natural push and pull procession of star-like beings. They don't fight. They don't argue. They don't hit no with a bar stool. Right? It is just a heavenly movement of celestial beings. So the Son is the Son, and the Father's will. What is our first sun? What is our first star? So when you say Jesus, you're saying Zeus. Zeus is another way for saying God. But Zeus is also Jupiter. Jupiter is also a planet that used to play a role as a luminary. So our particular sun is a second coming of Jupiter. So everything in reference to theology is astrology. Why wouldn't it be? But of course, it's going to be coded. For my Father's will is that everyone who looks to the Son. Now, if you just close your eyes and see S-U-N, it makes perfect sense. When this do what thou wilt, it is do what thou Thelema, do with the will. It isn't to say do what you want to do. It's to say, do what the will is telling you what to do. And be in contact with that. This is a spiritual force. This is a spiritual guiding force that is trying to guide humans the right way, because where else are we going to get it from? So in the Bible, it utilizes the word specifically, the Greek word thelema specifically in the Greek translation of the Bible. It is translated in English as the word will. So will is almost like a deity, almost like a god, but it's not translated as that. It is almost translated with a lowercase w. So in Luke 12 verse 47, the servant who knows the master's will, or the master's thelema, or the master's plan, does not get ready or does not do what the master wants, will be beaten with many blows. So if you do not get ready, if you do not do what the master wants, you will be beaten with many blows. Very much a metaphysical blueprint. Is not religious more than it is spiritual, because the servant is the one, or the physical body, who knows the soul's guidance for you. Do you know what your soul is already planned for you? Do you trust in what the soul already has planned for you? Ready for it? Because you will already know. When I was by myself, I was fucking with Jack and Jill, Tom and Bob. I was just laying on my ass. Imagine if you was with a baddie right now. Imagine if you was with Idris Elba and you just laying. Like, Idris Elba need to accept me as I am. I got a bonnet on and I got some sweats. I don't need to work out. I don't need to eat right. He should be able to just accept me as I am. Or would you be like, damn, I need to get my shit together. I need to be on my best behavior. I need to act like it's already happening for me. I need to act like God already have a plan for me. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. If you already know, you ain't got to figure it out. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with a few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. At a certain point, motherfuckers be like, how am I going to be able to explain it? You know, if I'm going through a bunch of shit in my life, I'm gonna feel like God is not in my corner. If I look at another person who is super successful, I'm gonna feel like his relationship with God is tighter than mine because he's doing better than I'm doing, obviously. But when you read verse like this, it makes you look at things a little differently. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. So what does this mean for humans? It means your ability to be guided is much more pervasive in whether or not you're choosing to be guided or not, or if you're just trying to make your own decisions, which is it's a thin line between love and hate, right? But it comes from a deeper knowing, a deeper understanding. So or just give me 1 second. And so from these considerations, it should be clear that do what thou wilt does not mean do what you like. It is the apotheosis of freedom, but it's also the strictest possible bond. Do what thou wilt, then do nothing else. So when we are discussing the word Thelema, it is strictly reserved towards understanding a higher power. It has nothing to do with the personal will and no level of study of the word, of the concept. In John chapter 5:30, it says, and I started reading like these chapters trying to get context, but then clipped it from the point of trying to deliver the message. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they shall hear, and they that hear shall live. For as the Father have life in himself, so hath he given the Son to have life in himself. I can of mine own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not mine own will. It's a very specific understanding of the word. And throughout the Bible, it's repeated and reiterated because the personal will is so very strong. Because we have to survive, because we have to take care of ourselves, because we have to do everything on our own will is going to be the pervasive will. Yet, from a spiritual mature perspective, the work is to seek not mine own will, but the will of the Father which have sent me. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. So understand it from a materialist, personal point of view, within itself, it requires knowledge, wisdom, understanding, years, time, association, ritual, practice to figure shit out. And throughout this whole entire process, where people thought they were 10 years ago is not where they're at 5 years ago. It's not where they're at 2 years ago. It's not where you at 2 months ago. The day before, you could be a completely different person. So if I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. So a deeper understanding of the Father, because once again, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, that they have done good until the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil until the resurrection of damnation. And I can of my own self do nothing. So all of this shit is going on. Everybody out here doing evil, doing good. I can my own self do nothing. It's not saying that I can't do nothing. It's saying, as a spiritual principle, the best way to access a particular power is don't do shit. To tune in and tap into the Father or the causal body, a subtle spiritual concept in the traditions like Hinduism and Theosophy, refers to the innermost seed or karmic body. It is considered the source of one's karma and habits, carrying the essence of past experiences across multiple lifetimes through reincarnation. It is the most subtle of the three bodies and is the root cause for the form and experience of other bodies, with some traditions also associating it with ignorance or bliss. When you get into the word cause, it is to produce an effect, but also impel and compel. The etymology of impel and compel is the word or Proto-Indo-European word pel, which means thrust or pulse. There is no real cause for the pulse, but the pulse is the cause for your whole entire life. So to impel or to compel means to be one with that pulse. But that pulse is not just a benign, lazy thing. It is a thrusting, it is an action. It produces an effect. So to be one with the Father is to be one with cause. But another expectation with this particular combination is a positive feeling. And this positive feeling is hard to access if you have been programming yourself to have positive feelings with external stimuli. A cause, a reason, an interest, a judicial process, a lawsuit, which is of unknown origin. To plead or to debate a question. What am I tuning into? What am I tapping into? So another place where the will shows up, or Thelema, the word Thelema shows up in the Bible, is in Thessalonians 5, verse 18, which is specific, talking to a specific point of illumination. Rejoice always and delight in your faith. Delight in your faith. This is a positive rejoice always. It's not saying rejoice when things go your way. Rejoice when you get a job. Rejoice when you get money. Rejoice when you move. Rejoice when the government open up the government. Rejoice always and delight in your faith. So trusting in the Father, knowing that the Father has a will through order, through discipline, through structure. Delight in that. Most, when you say discipline, structure, and order, accountability, people like, man, I ain't about to do that shit. In one way or another, they don't delight in it. Be unceasing and persistent in prayer in every situation, no matter what the circumstances, be thankful and continually give thanks to God, for this is the will. What is the will? In every situation, no matter what the circumstances, be thankful and continually give thanks to God. Most people say, man, Hood, I'm not about to do that shit. They fired me at the job. My girl just got cheated on me. You know, they took away Snap. I'm supposed to be thankful and continually give thanks to God when they took away Snap, Hood. They took away welfare. They took away my Section 8. They took away everything, Hood. I'm supposed to be thankful for that? In every situation, no matter what the circumstances, be thankful and continually give thanks to God. So, in reference to, like, I must have been listening to a Bobby Hemmit video where it was talking about read the book of law, read chapter 1, and I just started doing it, and I just noticed that like things started to happen. But like at that time, man, I couldn't explain how bad I was doing. It was unexplainable. Right? But I was just trying to figure out something, you know, when you that low, right? And I'm just saying that to say you could be in a very low situation. And because you're in a very low situation, what you going to do? You're going to meditate on it. You're going to vibrate on it. You're going to concentrate on it. You're going to focus on it. Hood, I'm fucked up, man. I'm in a fucked up situation, Hood. I live with my mom, Hood. I live with my dad, Hood. I live with my baby mama, but we ain't together. And she be inviting niggas every day, Hood, but I don't got nowhere to go. So I got to listen to my baby mom get pounded out every day by a different Hood nigga, Hood. Hood nigga, Hood, it's just crazy. How you expect me to be thankful and I'm sleeping because you obviously ain't got nowhere to go, and you got somewhere to go. You need to be thankful, right? Be thankful you don't got an STD. Be thankful that one day when you find a girl and you going to be your whole heart, you ain't even going to be thinking about getting back with your ex. She done beat it out of you, no pun intended. In every situation, no matter what the circumstances, be thankful and continually give thanks to God. For this is the Thelema. The word will. So when you look at Thessalonians, (5:18) in Greek, for this is the will. So is the will is the word Thelema. So it is almost exclusively utilized in reference to God. So Thelema is the will of God. Right? And so to understand in every situation, so for this is the will of God. What is it? In every situation, no matter the circumstances, be thankful and continually give thanks to God. And a person might say, for what though? Like, why do I have to even do that? Why can't I just act like I live with my baby mom and she getting pounded out and I gotta sleep? Ray came over, Tone came over, James came over. They came back to back, Hood. And you saying be thankful? Well, I'm trying to give you a key principle of wisdom. Illusion operates throughout the personality. So everything you experiencing is only going to exist in the personality realm. And because it is an illusion that you bear witness to and you're going to meditate upon, you are going to have it pervade the mental body as a false belief, because everything we visualize through a personality is an illusion. When you discuss the emotional body, because now you're thinking about it, she getting pounded out. You live there. Think about what happened in 1716 in a house in Rhode Island. You don't know, you don't care, but whatever happened in that house in Rhode Island was super important at that particular time. Nigga crashed out over some 18th century vagina, but you don't know nothing about it because it don't matter. It's an illusion. It's nothing that you're going to be experiencing on a personality level that's going to be on the fucking statue one day. Like, this nigga smoked 17 Black and Milds in one day. Let's make a statue from this nigga. It's never going to happen. So illusion operates throughout the personality. And once it settles in as not an illusion, because it's your mama, it's your daddy, it's your neighborhood, it's your boyfriend, it's your husband, it's your wife, it's so real to you, you're going to think about it. But since it's an illusion, it's a false belief. And since you feel it, because it's going to exist one way, right? Because Lord forbid you find somebody that you fall in love with and they the perfect person. What's going to happen? You going to die, they going to die. What's going to happen when that happens? You going to be sad. It was an illusion anyways. That's the nature of an illusion. It's going to die. Anybody die, you going to be sad. Because this world is based upon an illusion. Meaning that we're not even being told about the soul being a forever concept. We're only told about the physical vessels and how they exist within the world. So was he a rich nigga or was he a poor nigga? Did he get a mausoleum? Oh man, he ain't even get a gravestone. This nigga was poor. Oh, let's forget about him. You ever go to the goddamn graveyard and seeing somebody died in 1986? Or even better, 1946, you like, damn, ain't nobody came to this graveyard. It's got motherfucking grass all on it and shit. And it's always the rich motherfuckers too. The most elaborate gravestones, unkept, died in 1946, rich as hell. Nobody gives a fuck because it's all an illusion. It was real to them. They had a fucking horse and buggy and shit. Motherfucking horse shitting everywhere. They had the latest and greatest poop scooper. They were so happy they was able to pick up horse shit. And that was just, that was everything that they was thinking about. Fast forward to now, niggas is driving cars. Fast forward, like everything that's happening in the world, we like, man, this is so intense. This is so real. It's a passing phase. How could it not be? But with all that being said, most people are not going to get it. They're going to say, no, it is real. It's a material object. It's physical. I'm hurt by it. I think about it all the time. It has to be real. It has to be real because I feel it. I'm processing it. I went to therapy about it, hood. I went to couples therapy about it, hood. How you going to say it's not real? You just expect me to get over it like that? Hood, I just can't get over it like that. It's going to take me some time. Understanding this principle implies deeply distrusting all reactions to the personality, to life, and circumstances. So give thanks always. Even in the deepest, darkest abyss and mire. And half of y'all not even living in that. Y'all got a lot of shit to be grateful for. What the fuck is we even talking about? But see how the news can get to you? See how people can get to you? To whereas you, niggas hit you with bad news all day, you feel like it's your personal responsibility to feel bad. Meanwhile, you go to the house, unlock your door, sit on your comfortable couch, watch the program that you want to watch, smoke the weed that you want to smoke, drink whatever beverage you could have got. You selected the beverage that you wanted. You didn't even think twice. If it was the $5 bottle of juice, your ass grabbed it without thinking. This is the juice that I fucking want. All natural fruit juice. No preservatives. You bought that shit. That shit in your refrigerator right now, but niggas telling you need to feel bad over Snap. You don't even got Snap. They said 40 million people got Snap. 300 million people don't. What the fuck? 300 more people don't got Snap. The whole country don't. The whole country fucked up now. It can get overwhelming. These niggas is professionals at this shit. And I'm telling you, whatever you going through, whatever you are hearing, whatever people is telling you, let's get into some key principles. The servant, and this is from Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 26. Let's start at 22. Run away from youthful lusts, pursue righteousness, faith, love, peace with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. But have nothing to do with foolish and ignorant speculations, since you know that they produce strife and give birth to quarrels. The servant of the Lord must not participate in quarrels, but must be kind to everyone, even-tempered, preserving peace, and he must be skilled in teaching, patient, and tolerant when wrong. Already know you're not spiritual when you vengeful. Already know you're not spiritual when you trying to get back. Well, Hood, he deserved it. He should have never cheated on me, Hood. Man, this nigga stepped on my foot, Hood. You know that's a sign of disrespect. So if I just let him step on my foot, now everybody's saying I'm a bitch, Hood. I couldn't let that go. I had to still off on him. I already know you're not a child of God. I already know your spirit. Once you show me vengeance, and then your reason for vengeance is that you've been wronged, oh, you too caught up in the illusion. You think this shit is real. You think that's your real wife is going to piss you off. You know how many people is in the grave right now because they thought that this was a real world, and they fucked around and found out, and now they got to respawn in another dimension. And that they may come to their senses and escape from the trap of the devil, having been held captive by him to do his will. Now, once again, let's look at 2 Timothy chapter 2. Verse 26. So this last verse is explaining the little season. He must correct those who are in opposition with courtesy and gentleness, in the hope that God may grant them that they will repent and be led to the knowledge of the truth, accurately understanding it and welcoming it. I can't force you. I'm not forcing nothing. I'm not forcing you to believe shit that I'm telling you. More or less, I imagine that you disagree with everything. Every word that I've said, I imagine that a person have disagreed with it. I already know people not trying to hear this because we are in a little season. And I know what is the little season. It is when the devil is in control and the devil possesses human beings. That's how the devil manifests. And the people that you know, the people that you don't know, the people that you don't want to know, are people that are possessed by the devil and do exactly what the devil tells them to do. It is his Thelema. So when Aleister Crowley references the Thelema, and the biblical ecclesiastics represents the Thelema, we are talking about two different Thelemas. But when you read the Greek, it is speaking specifically on the devil can have a Thelema too. The devil can guide you too. And it's like God say, man, I pray that they might come to their senses out of the devil's snare, having been captured by him for his will. His will is also his Thelema. This is Diablo. This is an entity that specifically possesses humans to, give them their own personal salvation, what they personally want. And to a certain degree, everybody is possessed with self-preservation. But when you are a spiritual being, you might get caught up in the concept of you doing for other people. You showing up for other people, you falling in love, you having particular bonds that don't hold you down, but uplift you because you understand this particular nature. Or you could be so caught up in how you feel in reference to yourself that you feel sorry for yourself. So therefore, you don't want to deal with nobody. You don't want to talk to nobody. And everybody is against you. It is a certain level of magnetism. You need to find God within yourself and trust in the will to lead you and guide you to people who exist in the same area. They have the same pure heart as you do. You don't trust in that. You don't. So this is why I say you 40, 50, 60, even 20. Some of y'all been ran through by the time you get 20. You start hating niggas by the time you turn 18. I done fucked 18 niggas. I'm starting to hate men. Well, of course you are, ma'am. Like, what? How you thought it was going to work? You thought the more niggas you fuck, the more you going to fall in love with men? Or that time you fell in love when you was 16, you still trying to figure out, damn, well, how do I get into it? Who is that? Who is that? Who is that person? That was a person that was following the will. I'm not supposed to get married at 16, Hood. Hood, he was a grown-ass man, Hood. And you managed to get it off. Don't nobody know. Like I said, in reference to this world that we live in, it's so filled with sin. Motherfuckers done did shit that they will never even talk about. They gonna take to the grave, and they know it. We all know it. But I'm saying this all to say, when you trying to get up out of that hellhole, that law of attraction, that particular level of karma, you are going to repent, you are going to baptize yourself, and you are going to develop a clean heart. A pure heart. You are going to trust in the will, because once again, there are some particular concepts in reference to being in or out of a relationship, as one would be better or worse, meaning better to be single, worse to be in a relationship. But all of these are metaphysical code that speaks more into, if I am in a relationship, it's going to be worse because now I got to attend to my wife. Now she got to attend to me, but it doesn't have to be. We could develop a relationship where we both tend to God equally and fervently within ourselves, because we trust in God of us keeping ourselves together through that modality. Meaning I'm not trying to please her and she not trying to please me. I'm trying to please the God within myself. I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do. This is the will. This is my will. This is what I find myself. It's like the Isley Brothers song, I always come back to you. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 10. First, he says, sacrifices and offerings, burnt offerings and sin offerings you did not desire, nor were you pleased with them, though they were offered in accordance with the law. And he said, Here I am, I have come to do your will. He sets aside the first to establish the second. And by that will, we have been made holy through the sacrifice of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. So this can be interpreted completely metaphysical. Because you're not coming into spiritual development like I've been a spiritual adept my whole lifehood. I've been perfectly psychic. I've been perfectly spiritual. I can meditate. I can heal. I can levitate. I can do readings. I can read astrology. I'm a perfect spiritual being and I don't need help. I'm just here to shit on y'all. Then you never even heard of a spiritual being like that. A motherfucker doing that. I'm Jesus Christ reincarnated, pure scam artist. Why? Because we always fuck up. People hate to admit that they fuck up and can fuck up. And because if you rely on yourself, you also said that, well, damn, I done fucked up before too. I done made a bad decision before too. But can you admit it though? Can you admit that you need help from a higher power? Most people feel like I don't need no help from a higher power. I got it all figured out, but I do need some help and I do make fucked up decisions. I wish I had love. I wish I had a career. I wish I had money. I don't got none of that, but I don't need God. In this verse, it says, Here I am. I have come to do your will. He set aside the first to establish the second. Of course he would, because if we had to deal with the first, we would have to reflect on our college dorm room days. We would have to reflect on our first apartment days. We would have to still deal with that karma of all of the weird shit that we was doing when we was going out and partying and getting drunk every night. We all come to some realization at a certain point. Ain't nobody 40 years old been going to the club ever since they was 18. No, hood, I still go to the club every weekend. Remember when we used to go back in our 20s? I'm at the same club, nigga. I got my fill of all the young, like, come on, bro, you nasty. If you 40 still going to the club or the bar you was going to when you was 18, 21, that should have a real hold on you, my boy. And by that will, and by that Thelema, we have been made holy through the sacrifice of the body of Jesus Christ once and for all. Jesus Christ being a particular concept, a result, an extension. Day after day, every priest stands and performs his religious duties again and again. He offers the same sacrifice which never take away sins. But when this priest had offered for all time one sacrifice for sins, he sat down at the right hand of God. And since that time, he waits for his enemies to be made his footstool. For by one sacrifice, he has made perfect forever for those who are being made holy. So if we're looking at it as a particular guy, then I don't understand it. But if we're looking at this as a particular thought process where there is nothing that can stop you, right? If the enemy, if I'm my own worst enemy, then I need a particular mentality that overrides my personality. Because if I'm blaming people for why I ain't done what I'm supposed to be doing, then I don't even understand that I'm my own worst enemy. And if I think that what I'm doing, because I'm doing it, is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, then I'm fooling myself. I need to figure out how to move and act from a pure heart. And so the last scripture that we're going to cover and then bring it into a conclusion and summary, Revelation chapter 4, verse 11. Whenever the living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him who sits on the throne and lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and worship him who lives forever and ever. They lay their crowns before the throne and say, "You are worthy, our Lord and God, to receive glory and honor and power. For you created all things, and by your will, your Thelema, they were created and have their being." So, when we are looking at the world, when we're looking at this dimension, if we're able to find it to be a wondrous place that we are living in, then we also can say, man, I didn't create none of this water, none of these trees, none of this nature, none of this world. I didn't create it. But the one who created, whoever he or she may be, I want to give thanks to. And if I'm in a bad position and I don't have it within me to look in this world and say, man, I don't even feel that way. Maybe I can feel like that in the future. Maybe I can come to that understanding and realization, and maybe I desire or wish for being connected for my soul one day. I don't see it yet. I don't feel it yet. I don't hear it yet. It doesn't make sense to me yet, but I want it to make sense to me. I want to be able to connect to myself. Then that is your prayer. That is the will. It is not something that will escape you. And our ability to have this transmission, to talk about these things, is so you can personally access it at a particular space in a particular time, because you are worthy. When we say Lord, what are we talking about? We're talking about the activity of the spiritual I am. So when you read this, you are worthy, our Lord and God. This is what I want you to understand. We are not talking about anything outside of ourselves. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy. You are worthy of receiving attention, honor, and faith. Every part of you, from the soul, from the seed, to the root, to the blood, everything about you deserves receiving attention, honor, and faith. Now, do you want me to do it? Because I got kids, I gotta work, I gotta balance the checkbook. Meaning I might get sidetracked. I might get busy, and I might not give you the attention and honor and faith that you need. I'm gonna just be real with you on that. I'm gonna be real with you on that. Are you able to access it within yourself? Are you able to see yourself as I am? And let this be the ruling consciousness. The Lord God of the scriptures is Christ. The spiritual man or woman. When you are a spiritual man, when you are a spiritual woman, you are Jesus Christ. Because you have sacrificed the point of you being a regular human doing regular human shit. Because most motherfuckers ain't strong enough or bold enough to put it down for a little bit and get into some shit where they communing with the spiritual side. life through a various within every person is the ability to access a divine consciousness. This divine consciousness is the creative power within you. This is the Lord. So are you not grateful for it? Are you not in complete awe of how creative you are, or how creative you will be when you access it? Do you trust in it? Do you have faith in yourself? Right now, Hood, I don't have faith in myself, but I want to have faith in myself. That's how you access it. Lord is one, the oneness of thought and purpose in the individual, as well as the one presence and one power. The omnipresent good, omnipotent good, which man must know and consider in his contact with the world without. The principle of oneness controls life. So when we are discussing the will, the Father's will, or the Lord's will, it is a creator. It is an action. It is something that we can trust. Be like, I don't need to do it. I got that shit all the way together. Because Lord knows right? I'm talking about those who are attempting. Here are some quotes we're going to quote from the Thelemapedia, and then we're also going to quote from the Synthesis of Yoga. And these are, and just give you a summary or a conclusion of Thelema and the will, what it is and what it isn't. From these considerations, it should be clear that do what thou wilt does not mean do what you like. It is the apotheosis of freedom, but it's also the strictest possible bond. Do what thou wilt, then nothing else. Let nothing deflect thee from the austere and holy task. Liberty or freedom is absolute to do thy will, but seek to do any other thing whatever, and instantly obstacles must arise. Every act that is not in definite course of that one orbit is erratic in hindrance. Will must not be two, but one. So moving forward, it does not mean surrendering to every whim, but it involves finding out who came into this world and never swaying a hair's breadth from that will. So once again, all of these things are found within you, within your ability to reflect and contemplate on who you exactly are. And if you could get a glimpse of who you are, that are is a particular action or a preparation. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And as we come closer and closer to the end times, which are preparing us for a new time, who we truly are is going to be the topic of discussion. But if you don't know who you truly are, then you are trusting somebody to tell you who you truly are, and that can never be the exact case. So this book by Sri, called The Synthesis of Yoga, which is like the previous book that I did, has a lot of bangers in it, man. If you just looking for a spiritual book to reflect on, to get some like to PDF, is 900 pages of goodness, y'all. I promise you on that. So, as I was stating earlier, it's a thin line between love and hate. And an ability to transform yourself is not to look at ways for which you handle things and feel validated in it, even though you feel validated in it. Because there is a particular principle as do unto you as you want to be done unto. And it's not to say we don't make mistakes, but when we're talking about Christ consciousness, it is a completely new way of thinking. That since it's a complete new way of thinking, it's more of a clear way of looking at everything that's directly in front of you without no judgment, without no bringing up past into it, just a complete level of moment clarity and awareness. And one step at a time in reference to you doing what you're supposed to be doing in this particular timeline, whether it's picking up your kids from school, ironing your clothes for work, taking a bath, helping an old lady cross the street. Day to day, you will be presented with opportunities to showcase Christ consciousness. And it's not reference to the past. So this is a particular poignant reading that I want to share with you because it encapsulates Thelema in a very concise, in a very perfected way. In the meanwhile, our only safety is to find a guiding law of spiritual experience, or else to liberate a light within that could lead us on the way until that greater direct true consciousness is reached above us or born within us. For all else in us that is only outward, all that is not a spiritual sense or seen. The constructions, representations, or conclusions of the intellect, the suggestions or instigations of the life force, the positive necessities of physical things are sometimes half lights, sometimes false lights that can at best only serve for a while or serve a little, and for the rest either detain or confuse us. The guiding law of spiritual experience can only come by an opening of human consciousness to the divine consciousness. There must be the power to receive in us the working and command and dynamic presence of the divine Shakti and surrender ourselves to her control. It is that surrender and that control from an ancient biblical ecclesiastical point of view. Our job is to access the divine consciousness within us. That does not mean there are not other things, but these things are often half-lights and sometimes false lights that at best only or serve a little, and for the rest either detain or confuse us. So I've spoken for close to 2 hours with the sole purpose of clarity. So you are not confused about the guiding force that is divine, that is within you, that is your will. That if you surrender to your will, you are actually being guided by that will. So the rituals or meditations or spiritual work you do, make sure that it is specific to accessing your divine consciousness that wants to specifically help you. Because if you don't access this, it is a half light or a false light, or can serve you for a while, or can possess you or confuse you. If you are looking for true light, if you are looking for true source, true guidance, it must, without a shadow of a doubt, come from you. So I will play my intro video, and if there are any questions, go ahead and let them fly in the chat.
When we talking about real shit or we talking about rhyme? You talking about millions or you talking about mine? What we talking about?
Yo, bust it. Look at you.
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor. I ain't got no pens on, ain't got no pens on. I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
Look at you. Look at you.
I ain't got no pens on the dance floor.
So yeah, man. This was Thelema Explained from just my own personal set of research. I actually just kind of felt compelled or impelled to talk about it, to understand it. Something about it was like unclear to me. And so throughout this study, I gained more and more and more clarity. And hopefully throughout this build, so as well, it's only as hard as you make it. And that was something that was my stepmom, who have transitioned, but that kind of, she was like, I was like, stepmom, it's hard trying to find a job. And she was like, you know, it's only as hard as you make it. And I had a job. So I say that all to say, do you trust in the Lord God with all your heart And when I say Lord God, I'm talking about your heights. I mean, it's something that because we dealing with the unseen and the non-physical, and we need to be gentle, we need to be slow, and make sure we know what we talking about and know what we dealing with. So with all of that being said, hope y'all was able to pull from this, learn from this, grow from this, as I was able to. And stay tuned for more videos, more conversations. I really want to deal with these politics, man, but I don't think I'm like, damn. I want to talk about it, but I don't know. I don't know. Niggas are like, yo, what the fuck is this nigga talking about? But anyways, more videos coming one way or another. But with all that being said, thank y'all for your time. Thank y'all for the space to share. Any support, please visit Cash App $Hood Mystic 38. If you're trying to support yourself and support me at the same time, please visit whiterabbitpsych.com. We do have our 25% off sale going on. Ends tomorrow, so make sure y'all tap in with the quickness before the deal runs out. But with all that being said, enjoy y'all day, enjoy y'all week, and be sure to be back with more videos down the pipeline. So peace to the tribe, peace to the collective, and I will see y'all all on the flip side.